Good afternoon, I'm Arthur Delaney here with Dave Wood, our senior military correspondent who has just won the Pulitzer Prize for national reporting for his series Beyond the Battlefield about severely wounded soldiers. Congrats, Dave.
Thank you, Artie. I'm having a little trouble absorbing it, but it's a great honor.
So to start with, just tell us about the series. This was a 10-part series of long stories that ran in December.
It ran last fall.
Yeah.
And basically, it was a series that explores the condition and the plight of young men and women who are severely wounded on the battlefield, who in past wars would have died on the battlefield, but we've had such amazing medical advances that almost all of them are now being saved. The downside is, of course, that many of those who are saved come home severely, severely wounded, and those are the men and women that I wanted to write about.
And how did you get the idea to write about these folks?
Well, I've been a war correspondent and sort of spent a lot of time on battlefields as a reporter, and I'd always see when people are injured, there's a great flurry of activity, and it's kind of hard to see what's going on, and then they're lifted off in a great, the helicopter lifts off in a big cloud of dust, and they disappear, and I never knew what happened to them, and I was really curious. Not just were they saved or did they die, but what was life like for them on the other side of that battlefield medevac? And so the Huffington Post graciously gave me about 8 months, all the time I needed really, to go out and find these people, to get to know them, to get to know the people who take care of them and their families, to get to know the medics who save them, the surgeons who operate on them, and the researchers who are finding incredible new ways of helping these severely wounded have normal lives.
And it's not just medical technologies that are allowing these people to survive these injuries. It's also a new type of injury that we're getting.
It is. And the new type of injury is from the improvised explosive device, or IED, which two things really have combined to make this the signature wound of the war. One is that U.S. forces are doing a lot more foot patrols as opposed to being in vehicles as they were during much of the war in Iraq. So they're walking foot patrols, and the insurgents are planting IEDs, which explode upwards with tremendous force and very often shear off legs, genitals, arms, and cause just horrific damage to the soft tissue that's in the lower half of your body.
And there's a lot of focus in your series on those genital wounds, which is something also that we didn't see so much before because people just wouldn't survive that type of injury.
Yeah, it's like many of the injuries that I wrote about. Initially, I was very reluctant to ask people about their wounds, as many of us are. I mean, you see a wounded or a soldier in a wheelchair at the airport, or a Marine with prosthetic legs, you're a little reluctant you don't know whether to look at them or look away or what to do, really. It's awkward. I very quickly found out that they want to be looked at, they want to be asked, hey man, what happened to you? Were you okay? Are you being well taken care of? Because they view their scars and their visible wounds as evidence of their sacrifice. They volunteered to fight for their country, went to Iraq or Afghanistan, got blown up, and they're proud of their service, and they want to be recognized, and they want to tell their stories. And so once I got over that, my own sort of reluctance to talk to them, they just poured out their stories. They're very anxious to tell the rest of us their stories, and so I hope that this series I hope people will read this series and become less reluctant, really, to talk to these people as they see them out on the street, because they're more and more